We get a logical Tensoon chapter.
Yeah, a logical one, but some really valiant attempts at cope, but it just doesn't work out.
Yeah. But I think he goes through some of what we criticized about where he was in the last chapter with this idea of what? So you're just going to tell someone else the world is ending and then go home and do nothing kind of a place?
Yeah, that's the right thing to do. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then we get a badass Elend scene.
Badass Elend. I guess I didn't take it as like, wow, badass. I guess I'm so used to Elend being badass that I'm just like, it's an Elend scene.
I suppose I'm thinking primarily about the exchange he has with Set later on.
Yeah, that was fire. That was enjoyable. That was, yes. And it actually works.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, wow.
I almost felt bad for Set. Almost.
No, yeah, I didn't. Yeah. I was like, that's it. That's exactly your place. So, pipe down.
Indeed. For those interested in what I'm reading currently that I don't cover on the channel,
I'm interested.
I have been bombarded with ads for the new Harry Potter full cast recording. I haven't gotten it, but I did go and revisit the first 3 books. And hot take, book 2 is the best.
I don't know. I haven't read them in years, but they were very beloved. I don't think I actually read the last books.
Fair.
Yeah, I don't think I read the last books. I was doing life when they came out instead.
I get that. Man, do I have memories of getting those books, waiting in line.
The last one I read was the one in which I was 16, yes. And the only reason I mark it is because I know what age I was when I was on holiday. And that was when somebody somebody spoiled that Dumbledore.
No.
Spoiler alert. But I just put the spoiler alert before that, but yeah, they spoiled it for me. They saw me reading it, okay? And they said it in the, like, I was like, wow, okay. And I think I've spoken about it. I was in denial all the way through. I thought maybe she was just tricking me or whatever, and that was it. That's what I put the whole way through until the last page. But yeah, anyway, I think that's the last one I read. And that's Half-Blood Prince or something?
I don't remember. It has been so long.
I might have read the afterwards. Never mind. But anyway, yeah, I should go back to them. It would be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting experience going back and going through them. Anyway, that was my week. Back to Mistborn.
Yeah. Why did you bring it up? Was it like, were you gonna relate it, or is it just, oh, by the way?
Honestly, I just wanted to get my hot take out there about the second book being the best. That was pretty much the only reason for this tangent.
Okay.
No, look, here's the reasoning. It's his second year, so there is a certain degree of familiarity with the wizarding world that you can enjoy while it is still magical and mysterious. And it is before J.K. Rowling brings in outside influences. And what I mean by that is the magical world outside Hogwarts. I think there are issues, time turners and ministry stuff that can become convoluted or kind of wonky if you think too deeply about it. The first 2 books are, for the most part, very isolated within Hogwarts, and I
that
like
keeps them
that.
tight.
Yeah. That's well said. Yes, it keeps them tight. Anyway, Hello and welcome to the No One Asked You podcast. For this particular series, I am joined by my wonderful co-host, That Darn Kitty.
Dorkus and I are both going into the story completely new with almost no knowledge of the story or world. Each segment will cover what happens in each new chapter while discussing our experience along the way.
This is the Hero of Ages. It's all in the pages, a blind read-through. And today we are covering chapters 24 and 25.
24 and 25.
I now believe that Kelsier's stories, legends, and prophecies about the 11th metal were fabricated by Ruin. Kelsier was looking for a way to kill the Lord Ruler, and Ruin, ever subtle, provided a way. So that was an interesting opening to the epigraph for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I suppose I had imagined that Kelsier was making it up the whole time. He had his idea, and he just fabricated it. So which leads me to think Epigraph Man might be wrong here, in a way.
That's my conclusion as well. It's maybe my stance on Kelsier, whether he was lying or not, I don't know. But I don't think the whole thing about the 11th metal was fabricated by Ruin. I don't think he had that much influence.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think if we say that Kelsier did find these legends, whatever, these wouldn't be written legends. They wouldn't be on paper somewhere. It would be oral traditions. So I don't think this is it. I think what we can do is think about that last moment where Vin draws on the mists. That could be her drawing on Ruin in some way. And that is how Ruin assisted in the death of the Lord Ruler.
Yeah.
I just don't think he had that much influence. Ruin didn't have that much influence.
I don't think Kelsier needed an actual prophetic 11th metal.
Yeah.
He needed the lie to sell himself as a god, essentially.
Yeah, he needed also to sell the ability for them to defeat the Lord Ruler.
Yeah, hope.
We have this special weapon, guys, that this is it.
Yeah.
And it's going to help us, that whole thing.
Yeah. And what better way to do that than with a mysterious metal that no one can figure out?
Yeah, I mean, he could have made up. I mean, yeah, he definitely could have made up the stories about it, but he didn't make up the metal. He found the metal.
Yeah.
So there's that. Like, Ruin didn't create this metal. However, Kelsier came across this metal, we don't know. I'm sure it's in some sort of story.
Didn't we get it in that prequel we read?
Yeah, what's the name? We did read that when he's in training and everything, and they come across it. We know that, but I'm thinking like because his mentor basically knew about this thing. We don't know what he did with that knowledge, if he went further and tried to figure out what happened with it. So we do know, how he came across it, but that also means that he burnt it definitely before the Lord Ruler and all of that. So he knew it wouldn't work a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Than we actually anticipated. Now that I think about it. Because we thought, he's burnt it and figured out that it won't work. But he won't tell anyone about that.
Yeah.
So I'm leaning way more into he just made it all up.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. There's nothing indicating that there's some old story that he picked up on as well as the metal. So as far as we know, as far as Kelsier knew as well, that metal had just been developed.
Yeah.
When he found it. Like he was in the lab. So Epigraph Man can be wrong. That's what I think.
I agree. That secret was indeed crucial. Kelsier's 11th metal provided the clue we needed to defeat the Lord Ruler. However, even in this we were manipulated. The Lord Ruler knew Ruin's goals and would never have released him from the Well of Ascension, so Ruin needed other pawns. And for that to happen, the Lord Ruler needed to die. Our greatest victory was shaped by Ruin's subtle fingers. Look, if Epigraph Man was wrong in the first paragraph, it's entirely possible he's wrong in the second half. Because you yourself said you thought it was Ruin who Vin used Ruin power to defeat the Lord Ruler, but it seemed to me that she used the mist, which I've been associating of late with preservation.
Me too. And also, we've said that preservation and allomancy are together. They're the same, or they're an essence of preservation is allomancy. So the fact that she's able to draw on the mists to perform allomancy would suggest preservation rather than ruin. So I was just taking the assumption from the first paragraph and saying, okay, well, if we want to use that theory that ruin is the reason we defeated the Lord Ruler, then it would be that point. It wouldn't be the 11th metal and all of that stuff.
Gotcha.
But yeah, you're right. You could be wrong again. Yeah.
Maybe. Days later, Milan's words still pricked Tensoon's conscience.
You come, proclaim dread news, then leave us to solve the problems on our own.
During his year of imprisonment, it had seemed simple. He would make his accusations, deliver his information, then accept the punishment he deserved. But now, strangely, that felt like the easy way out. If he let himself be taken in such a manner, how was he better than the first generation? He would be avoiding the issues, content to be locked away, knowing that the outside world was no longer his problem. Yeah, that's pretty much our exact criticism of him last time we discussed it.
Yeah, so there you go. Think about it.
Fool, he thought. You'll be imprisoned for eternity, or at least until the Khandra are destroyed and you die of starvation. That's not the easy way out. By accepting your punishment, you're doing the honorable, orderly thing.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay, and then? So you're honorably dead.
Congrats.
Nobody's going to be there. Yeah, nobody's going to be there to realize you are honorable. So, well done.
Yeah, look, there are times when you need to die on a hill. I don't deny that. And sometimes dying on that hill includes dying. So, but Tensoon, you still have options you can take while still maintaining your integrity.
Yeah, it's dishonorable in the old world, the one that isn't threatened existentially. So you actually the scale of honor that you're using, the norms that you're referring to, they no longer exist actually. So they're not actually an option.
The world has changed.
Yeah, the world has changed. So you're just part of the old world then. Honorably part of the old world that dies. So you have to make a stand, and that is more honorable.
And by doing so, he would leave Milan and the others to be destroyed as their leaders refused to take action. And he would leave Vin without the information she needed. Even from within the homeland, he could feel the occasional rumbles in the rock. The earthquakes were still remote, and the others likely ignored them, but Tensoon worried. So, that's an important geographical clue there, I think. On one hand, my initial thought was, oh, he must be far away from Luthadel right now. But that next logical thought would be then, well, then are the earthquakes centered at Luthadel? We are under the impression that the Well of Ascension has been depleted, at least for 1,000 years. So I don't necessarily think the earthquakes are coming from the well.
No, at least that wasn't my assumption. I didn't think it was related to the well. I think it was just the whole world. It's part of the general chaos that's now taken over.
I agree, but considering what I just said about the earthquakes being far from Tensoon, does that push you down a road of thought with regard to where the earthquakes might be coming from or centered about?
No, it's inconclusive.
Okay.
That's all I can do is say they're inconclusive. He's far away from, I suppose he's far away from where the mists are taking over the most. That's what I would theorize there.
Well, in that case, he'd be in Luthadel.
I suppose. But yeah, is it in? We aren't given. We're given new maps this. Yeah, they don't tell us where the
Kandra homeland is.
No. But they are in, I don't know, they are in some sort of mountain. They might be in the Northern Dominance. But there's no mountains that are named there, so that doesn't make sense. Eastern Dominance, maybe?
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything.
River Seren, the Black Lake, 18. The Black Lake.
The Conventicle of Seren.
Yeah, it's inconclusive at this point, but
Crescent
point is he's
dominance.
It's in the shape of a crescent. Yeah, he can feel them also because it's just how sensitive he is. That's cool.
Yeah.
Also, this is just basically this paragraph here, and by so doing, yes, that is why it actually is more honorable to abandon the whole old school scale of honor and take a stand and whatever, because you would be leaving people to be destroyed essentially. So
yeah,
and you would be standing down. You wouldn't be even trying, which I don't find that honorable.
Yeah, not if you can take actions to help.
Mm-hmm.
The end could be nearing. If it was, then Vin needed to know the truths about the Kandra, their origins, their beliefs. Perhaps she could use the trust. Yet if he told Vin anything more, it would mean an even greater betrayal of his people. Perhaps a human would have found it ridiculous that he would hesitate now. However, so far his true sins had been impulsive, and he'd only later rationalized what he'd done. If he fought his way free of prison, it would be different, willful and deliberate.
Yeah, I can see the difference here, that he's had more time to think about these things, but his impulses were, the impulses he had were still based on the same sort of morals, the same feelings. It's just that he didn't have long enough to talk himself out of it. So he just had to do what he had to do. Now he's had some time, quite a long time. So it's like, it's very deliberate. There's no excuse.
Yeah. Well, it's very much like reaction versus contemplation. When you're reacting to something, you're acting on instinct. Whereas if you have a year to sit in prison and contemplate, you can come up with any sort of justification to do or not do something. In which case, is that what you would really do? Is that what your instinct would do? I don't know where I'm going with this.
Well, are you fighting your instinct at this point? Yeah.
Point being, he feels that whatever decision he ends up making will fall firmly on his soul and character.
Mm-hmm.
He closed his eyes, feeling the chill of his cage, alone in the large cavern. The place was mostly abandoned during the sleeping hours. What was the point? Even with the blessing of presence, which let Tensoon focus despite his uncomfortable confines, he could think of no way to escape the meshed cage and its fifth-generation guards, who all bore the blessing of potency. So I think between this and there might be another line about the blessing of presence, but I no longer think it's like tin. Yeah,
it's really something else. Like, I was thinking it's maybe towards it's more actually something that is it's more like
about focus.
No, yeah, but now it made me think of the keepers instead of normal allomancy. It made me think of like the fact that you're able to keep memories and things. It was more to do with the mind. I was thinking like it's some sort of blend with that magic compared to, so like the Kandra have like, I don't know, all of the magic. I don't know
Interesting.
what these blessings are. And also perhaps she could use the trust that earlier, that up there as well. What on earth is the trust?
I thought.
Use the trust? Use it? Like.
I thought it was like the big metal contract. that the Lord
But
Ruler
how does
said.
she use it? Yeah, does she use it because it's
like a lawyer?
It's got information.
She's got to come in and rule lawyer her way to control of the Kandra. No, I think what you just said is probably more appropriate, that there are clues in it that might help stopping ruin.
Yeah, perhaps she could use the trust. In mine it says perhaps she could use the trust itself. And that comes straight after he says their origins, their beliefs. So, I mean, the trust would contain that.
Yeah. And if he did get out of the cage, Tensoon would have to pass through dozens of small caverns. With his body mass as low as it was, he didn't have the muscles to fight, and he couldn't outrun Kandra, who had the blessing of potency. He was trapped. In a way, this was comforting. Escape was not something he preferred to contemplate. It simply wasn't the Kandra way. He had broken contract and deserved punishment. There was honor in facing the consequences of one's actions. Wasn't there? Yeah.
Again, this is what I mean by the cope. Like, he goes over and over. So he circles back, you know. He's like, no, that's good. This is good, right? We're good. We're fine. This is fine. And and then he's like, oh, damn. No, it's not fine because no. Okay, fine. I died with honor, but no, I also did nothing. So this is what I mean by him going over and over.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to find some honor in what he's doing. Because he's feeling like it is dishonorable. Like it is cowardly. Like he's not stepping up, which is true. He's not.
Yeah.
If he stays.
There's an element of an identity crisis here. It's not that he's questioning whether or not he is a Kandra, but it is about the Kandra way and what does it mean to be a Kandra, even in these circumstances.
Yeah. It's not the Kandra way. Like, heroism is not the Kandra way and whatever. Just like, but okay, the world has changed. What is a Kandra now?
Actually, you know, now that I've said it, I think it is more about an identity crisis than I had initially just suggested it might not be, because it gets into no real Kandra would enjoy wearing these bones later on, and he already feels so different from them, particularly in part because of his friendship with Vin. Yeah, I guess this is an identity crisis.
Yeah, it is. It's the wait, I'm supposed to be like this as a member of this community, but I am different. What does that mean? And those differences are things that you would lean on in a time of crisis, especially like right now. He can recognize that because he is different, he can recognize that the Kandra can't just sit this one out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and he knows that, and he can get them help through Vin.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, he's got to just embrace the fact that it's a bit weird.
Yep. The adventure's calling, Tensoon. You better pick up. He shifted positions in his cell. Unlike that of a real human, the skin of his naked body did not become sore or chapped from the extended exposure, for he could reform his flesh to remove wounds. However, there was little to do about the cramped feeling he got from being forced to sit in the small cage for so long.
Good to know. It's good to have it confirmed exactly that if he's wounded, he just he heals essentially, just reforms, respawns, that stuff.
Yep. Yeah. Motion caught his attention. Tensoon turned, surprised to see Varcel and several other large fifths approaching his cage, their quartzite stone-true bodies ominous in size and coloring. Varcel, I don't remember what voice I did for him.
Just a nasty voice. Just be nasty.
Time already, Tensoon thought. With the blessing of presence, he was able to mentally recount the days of his imprisonment. It was nowhere near time. He frowned, noting that one of the fifths carried a large sack. For a moment, Tensoon had a flash of panic as he pictured them towing him away inside the sack. It looked filled already, however. Okay, so look.
Yeah.
I knew right away. Okay, it's the dog bones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but he is worrying. It's been a little while as well, and yeah, maybe he knows, but he's it's also cope because it's like no. Like, you know, you would still, why would you think something good was going to happen? I mean, You're in prison. You're like, I tried and it's been a while. Who knows? Maybe he's afraid to hope, essentially. And yeah, there's just that, I just wanted to point out, there's that second thing that we were both thinking about when, with the blessing of presence, he was able to mentally recount the days. So that's what makes me go, okay, well, that's not a tin thing. So it's still this whatever the blessing of presence is, we still don't know. Thanks, Sanderson.
Yeah. Dared he hope? Days had passed since his conversation with Milan, and while she had returned several times to look at him, they had not spoken. He'd almost forgotten his words to her, said in the hope that they would be overheard by the minions of the second generation. Varcel opened the cage and tossed the sack in. It rattled with a familiar sound. Bones. "You are to wear those to the trial," Varcel said, leaning down and putting a translucent face up next to Tensoon's bars. "Orders of the second generation." "What is wrong with the bones I now wear?" Tensoon asked carefully, pulling over the sack, uncertain whether to be excited or ashamed. "They intend to break your bones as part of your punishment," Varcel said, smiling. "Something like a public execution, but where the prisoner lives through the process. It's a simple thing, I know, but the display ought to leave an impression on some of the younger generations."
Interesting that we have that kind of, new, it seems like a new kind of punishment that's coming on. Oh, that's not the Condra way, Condra or this and that. This seems quite cruel and unusual. So it seems like they can do whatever they want. They can step outside the norms as much as they want. But I suppose because under the normal structure, the seconds are above everyone else.
Yeah.
So they can do what they want. But no, come on, that should give you pause, Tensoon. And it should make you not feel ashamed, because he goes, he's not sure whether you should be excited or ashamed. It's like, no, this is a good thing. Be excited. Get over yourself. You're gonna need determination, okay? This is a decision, and you got to make it. And
there's a degree of cruelty here, I think, sort of a bit of a sadistic element. And I'm wondering, as you said, it's like, why do you want to be a part of these people when they mistreat you so? But then again, he doesn't think he deserves not to be mistreated. That's not quite right. He thinks he wronged. He did a terrible wrong. So
this is just the consequences of his actions. It's just accepting it. It's not that the way that they're dealing with it is wrong. Well, however they want to deal with it is right, because
that's
deserved. The consequences. Yeah, it's deserved. So it's whatever they've sentence they give him, he can't question it because he's guilty.
Yeah.
Which is like, no, you when it comes to your guilt, cool, you could say yes or no, guilty, not guilty. But penalties, sentencing is a separate issue. And your sentence, just think about how much hatred they have for humans for doing this to them. That basically it's remember when Tensoon was explaining, how you're treated by your masters is, you have a servant that can't die, so you beat the hell out of them, and you hurt them, and you think of them as disposable, and you don't care that they feel pain just like anyone else. So this is exactly what the part of why they hate humans, and they're doing something like that.
Yeah.
They're doing that, and they're doing humiliation at the same time. So I don't know about them being so upright compared to their human counterparts.
I agree. Tensoon's stomach twisted. Condra could reform their bodies, true, but they felt pain as acutely as any human. It would take quite a severe beating to break his bones, and with the blessing of presence, there would be no release of unconsciousness for him. And that's another
thing with this. Yeah.
So he can't pass out? Is it that he can't pass out dream? Or that he can't sleep?
Yeah, I guess he can't sleep, yeah. No, he can't dream. Oh my gosh.
Man, I still don't see the need for another body, Tensoon said, pulling out one of the bones. No need to waste a perfectly good set of human bones, sir, Varcel said, slamming the cage door closed. I'll be back for your current bones in a few hours.
That's also hilarious, because as soon as you said a few hours, I'm like, that's going to take him 5 minutes. But, good, yes. Come back in. Oh, it'll take me forever. Yeah, take your time.
Yes. The leg bone he pulled out was not that of a human, but a dog. I read that, and I thought the leg bone's connected to the... Terrible. A large wolfhound. They were the very bones Tensoon had been wearing when he'd returned to the homeland over a year before. He closed his eyes, holding the smooth bone in his fingers. A week ago, he'd spoken of how much he detested those bones, hoping that the second generation's spies would carry the news to their masters. The second generation was far more traditional than Milan, and even she had found the thought of wearing a dog's bones distasteful. To the seconds, forcing Tensoon to wear an animal's body would be supremely degrading. That was exactly what Tensoon had been counting on. See, even though he's still indecisive, he's taking actions in a specific direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's just uncomfortable with them, but he needs to just accept that he's uncomfortable with it. Understand that, yes, even so, even though he's got misgivings, they're not strong enough to stop him. Mm-hmm. He's got the bones now. He already did that. He already took steps, and he wants to call it just impulsive, but it's like, no, you're doing this. Your instincts that are supposedly moving your impulses are good ones. They come from a good place. So just embrace that. Get over yourself, because you're going to need to. You're going to need to be decisive going forward. But I do obviously enjoy the tension. This can't be too easy for him. We can't make this that he's like basically a sociopath in his in his community, and he's very happy to break the rules. It's not that. It's really this is something difficult for him, and I think that's fascinating character work.
I agree. You look good wearing that, Varcel said, turning to leave. When your punishment comes, everyone will be able to see you for what you really are. No Kandra would break his contract. Tensoon rubbed the thigh bone with a reverent finger, listening to Varcel's laughter. The fifth had no way of knowing that he'd just given Tensoon the means he needed to escape. Cool.
Yep. Yeah, we knew this was going to happen. We're very happy now that it is. And I don't think it's going to be easy. We've got, does he have the best blessing of
potency?
What's the name? Potency in those bones? I don't know how you would tell. I suppose they would check for it.
Yeah, I think he hid it somewhere. Mission 1, retrieve the blessing of potency.
Yeah, exactly.
Mission 2, meet up with Milan. Mission 3, go to Vin.
Milan. You play Milan to retrieve the blessing, because she's the one that's got to go and find it, right?
Yes. Milan, get the blessing. I hid it here. Then meet me in Luthadel. We're going to Vin.
Yeah, but she just looked at him, basically. She had returned to just look at him.
She's mad at him.
Yeah.
But sad for him.
Mm-hmm. Next chapter.
Yes, chapter 25. The balance. Is it real? I read that and I was thinking, you and I have been talking a lot about balance lately. Sort of.
Mm-hmm.
Between ruin and preservation, and perhaps preservation overstaying his welcome of late and it being ruin's time to shine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's immediately where I went when I read the balance. I was like, okay, the balance between preservation and ruin. That's what we have to do. Good and evil, blah, blah. Like, that's what I thought the balance was referring to when I first read that line.
We've almost forgotten this small piece of lore. Ska used to talk about it before the collapse. Philosophers discussed it a great deal in the 3rd and 4th centuries, but by Kelsier's time it was mostly a forgotten topic. Yeah, we definitely haven't heard anything about this beforehand that I can recall.
Yeah, absolutely not. Especially just not the title at all. The balance.
Yeah. But it was real. There was a physiological difference between Ska and nobility. When the Lord Ruler altered humankind to make them more capable of dealing with ash, he changed other things as well. Some groups of people, the noblemen, were created to be less fertile, but taller, stronger, and more intelligent. Others, the Ska, were made to be shorter, hardier, and to have many children. The changes were slight, however, and after 1,000 years of interbreeding, the differences had largely been erased. So I had 2 or 3 thoughts there. The first being confirmation. Although it wasn't a like a long-term moving in that direction. It was a start there, and then through time we've moved away from it, kind of a thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which was interesting. And then the second thought would be then, well, why allow them to be able to interbreed at all? Why not just two completely separate entities?
Species.
Yeah.
Species, because they wouldn't be able to breed interspecially.
Yeah, or like donkeys. Like donkeys can't have children, right? But they're the children
mules.
of... Mules. Yeah.
Yeah, so mules are infertile. They're sterile. So yeah, it would be that's where it would stop, I suppose. But yeah, it was interesting to have that confirmation that there was, because I was like, no, I think it's just a class thing. There isn't a physiological. I suppose, yes, because of the allomancy, that was the biggest difference. But now they're talking about intelligence and fertility. So, but yeah, I'm in agreement that the changes were slight, and over 1,000 years that would reduce. But yeah, why do we bring this up now?
Right. And
because also in the way that it's written here, for me, there was a physiological difference between Scar and nobility. It's emphasized.
Right. And it brings in this idea of maybe there wasn't any inherent prejudice from the Lord Ruler against the Ska. Maybe it is literally just that he needed a race of people to be able to pass on the Allomancer gene and keep it as pure as possible for when the Hero of Ages is born. And he needed a race of people to not dilute that, and they might as well be the ones getting the food. So they are made literally to be the servant class, the slave class.
Mm-hmm. Well, it seems like that would be a principle that he's interested in. Dominion, all of that, domination, being higher than... So the Terrace is the ultimate. Terrace and Allomancy is ultimate. And then there were already Scar, I suppose. There was a group of people because they were Terrace. I suppose that maybe they weren't called Scar at that point, but it was like people that aren't my people. And those will be the Scar. So he chooses those. But at the same time, maybe it justifies to him the way he treats the Scar, because he's like, oh well, they're just they're just animals, they're not actual people. Because that was the prejudice that we picked up. The way that Ellen was like so surprised that Vin's just a normal person. Wow, like I don't. Did you speak to one? Remember, it was like, do you speak to Scar? Like, what are they like? Kind of thing in the beginning. So.
Right.
So the belief in the physiological difference actually seemed to prevail, but it wasn't about the Lord Ruler having done it. It was just the way things are.
Yeah. Fadric's city, Elend said, standing in his customary place near the narrow boat's prow. Ahead, the broad Conway Canal, the primary canal route to the west, continued into the distance, turning to the northwest. To Ellen's left, the ground rose in a broken incline, forming a set of steep rock formations. He could see them rising much higher in the distance. So at this point, I am glad that we aren't wasting any more time in getting there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Here we are.
Yeah. Closer to the canal, a broad city was nestled in the center of a larger group of rock formations. The dark red and orange rocks were the type left behind when wind and rain wore away weaker sections of stone, and many of them reached high as spires. Others formed jagged hedge-like barriers with the appearance of stacks of enormous blocks that had been fused together, reaching some 30 and 40 feet in the air. That's kind of neat.
This would be cool to see, yeah.
Yeah. Elend could barely see the tips of the city's buildings over the stone formations. Fadric's had no formal city wall, of course. Only Luthadel had been allowed one of those, but the rising rocks around the city formed a set of terrace-like natural fortifications. Gee, I wonder Go on.
Yeah. That's what makes me worry about the importance of what's in that cache. Like, this is where the city is allowed to be. It's defensible. Oh, it just makes me worry.
Yeah, I also wonder if I'm seeing very early influence on Way of Kings building.
Shattered plane things, yeah.
Yeah, or like a city built to withstand a high storm type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Elend had been to the city before. His father had made certain to introduce him in all of the Final Empire's main cultural centers. Fadrix hadn't been one, but it had been on the way to Tremredare, once known as the capital of the West. In forging his new kingdom, however, Set had ignored Tremredare, instead establishing his capital in Fadrix. A clever move, in Elend's estimation. Fadrix was smaller, more defensible, and had been a major supply station for numerous canal routes. Cool. Nice. Good lore drop.
Cool. Good lore drop. This makes me, just while we were going through that, I'm like, there are so many cities that the empire is huge. I don't know if we're going to get to all of these people. And it makes me wonder if some people will just be desperate and actually come to Elend and ask for help as well. Or they're just going to be full cities that just die out anyway.
Probably that one. The city looks different from the last time I was here, Elend said. Trees, Ham said, standing next to him. Fadrix used to have trees growing on the rocky shelves and plateaus. Ham glanced at him. They're ready for us. They cut down the trees to provide a better killing field and to keep us from sneaking up close. Great little way of furthering the detail of the city in a way that moves away from prose and into dialogue.
Yeah, that's cool. Also just making us aware that, things grew on top of those plateaus.
Yeah.
It's not just a barren land.
Elend nodded. Look down there. Ham squinted, though it obviously took him a moment to pick out what Elend's tin-enhanced eyes had noticed. On the northern side of the city, the one closest to the main canal route, the rock terraces and shelves fell down into a natural canyon, perhaps 40 feet across. It was the only way into the city and was half taken up by the canal side branch that served Fadrix. The defenders had cut several troughs into the rocky floor of the canyon, then flooded them by connecting to the canal. They were bridged at the moment, but getting through that narrow entryway with moats in front of the army and archers presumably loosing arrows from the rocky shelves above, with a gate at the end. Not bad. What?
My edition doesn't actually mention the flooding. It just calls them troughs, and But I think that won't make a difference. But I appreciate the actual word of the flooding. It helps with the imagery for me.
Agreed. Not bad, Ham said. I'm only half glad they decided not to drain the canal on us. As they'd moved west, the land had risen, requiring the convoy to pass through several massive lock mechanisms. The last 4 had been jammed intentionally, requiring hours of effort to get them working. I appreciated that detail and the effort on both sides. The ingenuity of doing that if you're in Fadrix, and the aggravation it would take if you're marching on Fadrix.
Yeah, but I'm also glad we don't have to go through that. We don't have to have dialogue around that. Like you said, we are here. Okay, so It's just like, that's dealt with. Just imagine that we dealt with that. Okay.
Yeah, I would have been annoyed if there was another chapter where it's like, oh man, we have to sit and talk for an hour while the crews cut a way through. Darn.
Yeah.
Type thing. We're here. It's good. They rely on it too much, Elend said. If they survive our siege, they'll need to ship in supplies, assuming any can be had. Ham fell silent. Finally, he turned, looking back along the dark canal behind them. El, he said, I don't think that many more will be traveling this canal. The boats barely made it this far. There's too much ash clogging it. If we go home, we'll do so on foot. If we go home? Ham is becoming very pessimistic of late, I think.
Yeah, he's cynical. I mean, he lost clubs.
Yeah.
He's gone through a lot. He lost Doxin as well. And he's worried about his family. You can see when he looks back at Lutherdale.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Ham has changed so much.
But you can expect that after going through things.
Sure. Ham shrugged. Despite the colder western weather, he still wore no coat atop his vest. Now that Elend was an Allomancer, he could at least understand the habit. While burning pewter, Elend barely felt the chill, though several of the soldiers had complained about it in the mornings. I don't know, Al, Ham said. It seems portentous to me. Our canal closing behind us as we travel? Kinda like fate is trying to strand us here. Ham, Ellen said. Everything seems portentous to you. We'll be fine. That's optimistic, Ellen. You probably will be, but still.
I'm feeling it with Ham though. I also am like,
yeah,
this is scary. And also it's just going, hey, here's some foreshadowing, guys. They're gonna be trapped.
Yep. Ham shrugged. Organize our forces, Ellen said, pointing. Dock us in that inlet over there and set up camp on the mesa. Ham nodded. However, he still looked backward, toward Luthadel, toward what they had left behind. Yeah, definitely feels like they've passed a point of no return.
Mm-hmm. Is Ham gonna die? I don't want him to die.
Honestly, I think most people are open. I don't think very many are safe, except for maybe Sazed and Vin.
Mm-hmm.
Even Elend is up for possible chopping block.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Alrion will make it through.
Yay! As long as Tensoon makes it too.
Yeah. So help me, if something happens to Tensoon, I'm throwing this book away.
Something has happened to Tensoon. It's pretty bad.
Oh, that totally reminds me, Kitty. Someone asked what our favorite characters were. And I responded to the comment, but do you have any that you would like to list?
I think it might be Tensoon, Breeze. I like so many of them. I do love Vin. Elend, yeah, like sometimes. But yeah, in terms of favorites, it probably would be Vin and Tensoon together. You know, their relationship is my favorite thing.
Nice. Yeah.
I
said, Orasor is top dog, pun intended. Breeze, Sazed.
Mm-hmm.
How could you not say Sazed, Kitty?
Because right now he's not pulling it for me. But I understand, yes.
I probably would have said Doxin, except that I think he was underutilized in the first two books.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, Kelsia is a favorite as well, just from the whole story.
Tindwyl deserves a mention, of course.
Yeah, just ensemble cast, isn't it? There's something lovable about most of them. Like my least favorite, I suppose, would be Demure. I'm just like, there's Mia. He's just there. He's okay. He's not an insult at the moment.
Sure. I have no strong opinion on Demure.
Yeah, I think that's about it. It's like, he's neither here nor there.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like he's in the crew, which it feels bad to say because he's been around for so much, but it also doesn't feel like he's not in the crew either. He's in a weird space.
But we don't know him. You know, it's like we don't know him very well. We just don't know him. We know what he believes and stuff, and he does things, but we don't really know him.
Yeah. They don't fear the mists, Elend thought, staring up through the darkness at the rocky formations that marked the entrance into Fadric City. Bonfires blazed up there, lighting the night. Often such lights were futile, signifying man's fear of the mists. These fires were different somehow. They seemed a warning, a bold declaration of confidence. They burned brightly, high, as if floating in the sky. Elend turned, walking into his illuminated commander's tent where a small group of people sat waiting for him. Ham, Set, and Vin. Demure was absent, still recovering from mist sickness. So first off, that was a cool description.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're like, get out! We're not hiding here, you know.
Yep.
We're ready for you. Yeah, just wow, recovering from mist sickness takes quite a while.
Yeah. We're spread thin, Elend thought. Spook and Breeze in the north, Penrod at Luthadel, Felt watching the storage cache in the east. So...
Hello, Spook and Breeze. Speaking of not mentioning Sazed.
Yeah.
Wow, Elend.
Rude. But we know that Penrod and Felt are on his mind. And I think it is interesting. There's something to discuss here about them all being spread out. Because I think apes together strong. If they are all the hero of ages, maybe they should be together. But then again, it's like, if they're scattered to the four corners of the world, they can influence all four corners of the world. But also, Vin really needs to get to Spook to help with the citizen.
But yeah, also the fact that Elend is away from these people, they can start getting their own ideas and thinking that they have this nice opportunity to be the supreme leader of what?
Oh, no.
Okay? It doesn't make sense. Support the guy that's trying to save the world, you morons.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I've already decided it seems that there's going to be a rebellion.
Just the last thing he would need.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Ellen said, letting the tent flaps close behind him. Looks like they're holed up in there pretty well. Initial scout reports are in, Al, Ham said. We're guessing about 25,000 defenders. Not as many as I expected, Ellen said. That bastard yeoman has to keep control of the rest of my kingdom, Set said. If he pulled all of his troops into the capital, the other cities would overthrow him.
What? You think they'd rebel and switch back to your side?
It's important to note, mine says, Vin asked, sounding amused. So there's almost a little bit of contempt there.
I was like, why would anyone switch back to your side?
But then I go to pretty much exactly what Set says in his next line of dialogue, which is, no, they'd rebel and try to take over the kingdom themselves. That's the way this works. Now that the Lord Ruler is gone, every little lord or petty obligator with half a taste of power thinks he can run a kingdom. Hell, I tried it, so did you. Yes.
Yep, exactly. The iron fist of the Lord Ruler is no longer there. So, chaos reigns.
Yep. Lots of power-hungry people out there.
Yeah, but also, they get to rule the kingdom because they killed the Lord Ruler as well, though. Like, there's also that part. It's not that, the Lord Ruler's gone. Yay, let's just take advantage. Like, they did it knowing that they were going to take over. That was part of the plan. Yeah.
So it's interesting that Yeoman decided not to pull all of his troops back into the city for the siege. It, in theory, would take quite a lot of incredibly difficult communication, but he could try to coordinate all of the outside armies to close in on Elend and sort of reverse surround him, but I'm not sure that that's going to be the case. I'm really feeling they discovered the cache of it, and Ellen's going to find out that a siege is just not going to be possible because there's no time.
Yeah.
But then, to push that tape forward a little bit, do you think he's going to attack the city?
He might have to. Might have to go to assassination. It would be better to assassinate, I would say. Fewer people to kill. As in, like, you kill just the leaders and then take over that way.
True.
Yeah, just if we're looking at which is worse. And going into a whole battle, that's going to leave a lot of lives on the ground, you know?
Yeah. So if Elend decides to assassinate Yeoman, I'm guessing that Yeoman will have an Inquisitor, like as a bodyguard or an influencer in some way, making the assassination very dangerous and difficult.
But now an Inquisitor would be like fully controlled by Ruin.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. I don't know. I suppose, yeah, we've just had reminder of Ruin being subtle. So, yeah, maybe an Inquisitor would just be controlling from behind the scenes. So it appears like the humans are in control, but actually the Inquisitor is.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Which also makes using the Kolos quite dangerous.
Yeah. We were successful, Ham pointed out. And so was Lord Yeoman, Ellen said, folding his arms. He's held this kingdom since Set marched on Luthadel. He all but forced me out, Set admitted. He had half the nobility turning on me before I even struck toward Luthadel. I said I was leaving him in charge, but we both know the truth. He's a clever one. Clever enough to know he can hold that city against a larger force, letting him spread his troops out to maintain the kingdom and to endure a longer siege without running out of supplies.
Yeah, having all your men in the city as well is you have to feed them.
Yes.
That's another thing.
Unfortunately, Set's probably right, Ham said. Our initial reports place Yeoman's forces at somewhere around 80,000 men. He'd be a fool to not have a few units within striking distance of our camp. We'll have to be wary of raids. Double the guards and triple scout patrols, Elend said, particularly during the early morning hours when the day mist is out to obscure but the sun is up to provide light. Ham nodded. Also, Elend said thoughtfully, order the men to stay in their tents during the mists, but tell them to be ready for a raid. If Yeoman thinks that we're afraid to come out, perhaps we can bait one of his surprise attacks against us. Amazing, Elend. Best Elend.
Yeah, I was very happy with that idea. Yes, you can only use it once, but you can't you can use it more than once. You can still give the impression that you're afraid of the mists.
Yeah.
It's just something that you do want to use that element of surprise. That's pretty good.
Definitely. Clever, Ham said. That won't get us past those natural walls, though, Elend said, folding his arms. Set, what do you say? Hold the canal, Set said. Post sentries up around those upper rock formations to make certain that Yeoman doesn't resupply the city via secret means, then move on. What? Ham asked with surprise. Elend eyed Set, trying to decide what the man meant. Attack surrounding cities? Leave a force here that's large enough to stymie a siege break, then capture other parts of his territory? And I'm hearing that and thinking, that's not a bad idea.
I don't know. It's more, it's spreading yourself further. And I don't know how well we'll fare against those other forces. And also I know that Elend is not a fan of having even more battles. So yeah, he just spoke about being spread too thin. Now spreading his forces out, that I don't know. There's also risk involved with that.
Yeah.
And what are you gaining there? Because the whole reason that you're here is for the city. You're here for the cash. You're not here for the people or the kingdom itself, actually. You're here for the cash.
Yeah, honestly, even more than that, they're there for the Lord Ruler's secrets.
Mm-hmm.
So,
like they don't have time to consider retaking a kingdom. It's not about that. It's just that's just collateral. That's lucky for Set.
Yeah.
But this is about the city and about that cash.
Yeah. Set nodded. Most of the cities around here aren't fortified at all. They'd cave in without a fight. A good suggestion, Elend said, but we won't do it. Why not? Set asked. This isn't just about reconquering your homeland, Set. Our primary reason for coming here is to secure that storage cache, and I hope to do that without resorting to pillaging the countryside. Set snorted. What do you expect to find in there? Some magical way to stop the ash? Even Atium wouldn't do that. Something's in there, Elend said. It's the only hope we have. We get?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
we have to check it out. Sorry, we can't be like, oh well, that's it's too unlikely. It's like, what else are we doing, sir?
Yeah, I forget if we get a little more into it though, but we really, really get into Elend's insecurity a little bit with regard to how badly he needs a solution in that cache.
Mm-hmm. I don't know about it in here. Maybe I'm not remembering exactly.
I think we do. When we get to it, if it is there, I'll asterisk it. Set shook his head. You've been chasing a puzzle left by the Lord Ruler for the better part of a year, Elend. Hasn't it ever occurred to you that the man was a sadist? There's no secret, no magical way out of this. If we're going to survive the next few years, we're going to have to do it on our own, and that means securing the Western dominance. The plateaus in this area represent some of the most elevated farmland in the Empire, and higher altitude means closer to the sun. If you're going to find plants that survive despite the day mists, you'll have to grow them here. They were good arguments. Yeah, they're sounding like good arguments to me.
Yeah, no, they are. that, but we need to do both of those things, I suppose. And yeah, try not to get into too many fights.
Yeah. But I can't give up, Elend thought. Not yet. Elend had read the reports of supplies back in Luthadel and had seen the projections. Ash was killing crops as much as or more than the mists were. More land wouldn't save his people. They needed something else. Something that, he hoped, the Lord Ruler left for them.
Okay, I think here it is. This should be it. Yeah, so it's just like... He knows. I'm also in agreement with him. Like having more land and whatever, it's just not the best. It's something we could do.
Temp solution.
Yeah, it's something that we should be doing, but it's not the thing. Because this isn't about... I don't think there is much surviving this without having something else happen, something else change. We do need something extra. I know it's not going to be just quick magic, or something, but yeah, we need answers. We need to know more about the situation before we go, oh, there's nothing we can do.
Right.
And I think Elend is making a good effort to focus on, to put other people to work on those other things, on the temporary solutions. And he and Vin are trying to find the solutions.
Yeah.
The big solution. Yeah.
Yep. The Lord Ruler didn't hate his people, and he wouldn't want them to die out even if he were defeated. He left food, water, supplies, and if he knew secrets, he would have hidden them in the caches. There will be something here. There has to be. Yeah, that's what I meant about the insecurity.
Yeah.
He really needs a solution in there, and it's not going to be there.
I guess it's desperation is what I'm feeling more than just insecurity.
Yeah, that's a better word for it.
Yeah. Desperation is the biggest feeling that I get from that, is just like, it's not about him, because insecure seems a bit more about him. Desperation is just, and there will be something here. There will be, but it might not be the actual answer he wants to hear either. So, like we've theorized, it won't be there. The thing that is needed won't be there anymore, taken by an inquisitor or something like that. It's not just the supplies that they need. Then, so the secret might not give him the answer he wants, because we still need answers that say Tensoon will be able to give us, and that sort of thing. So it's not going to be the final quest. This is not going to be the boss fight he thinks it is. It's just going to unlock a whole new level.
Right.
Yeah. Just going back to, what do you think of the Lord Ruler didn't hate his people?
I mean, the Rashek of the journal that we get certainly hated many people, if not his own. And who knows how much of a psychological shift using the power had on him, or 1,000 years of leading had on him. I'm really getting the impression that Sanderson wants us to have a nuanced view of the Lord Ruler. He was a flawed man who tried to do good, but had issues.
I think we could maybe say that he didn't hate them closer to the end. It's more about, it's like there was anger and hate in the journal Rashek, essentially, what's described there. And even the nephew, that when Quan describes him. Yeah.
Well,
But I think he goes to apathy. He goes to, they're disposable because he is immortal.
Right.
So it's condescension. It's not really, it's not love, but maybe it's not as passionate as hate.
Sure. Well, the circumstance I forgot to add in my list earlier is, who knows what psychological shift learning that there are two deities, ruin and preservation, out there who play with you as toys can do to a man. So maybe you do stop hating your fellow humans and start to hate ruin instead. Yeah.
And you start to just, oh, well, this is just the way the world is. The humans dying and things like that. That's just par for the course. I'm not going to get too sentimental about people.
Yeah.
And I suppose hate is too strong an emotion for someone who's not sentimental at all. So, that when I read that, I was like, sure, he didn't hate them, but he didn't love them either. But we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did definitely want the continuation of the species and the world.
Yeah.
We can say that, yeah.
Yeah. The cache remains our primary target, Ellen said. To the side he could see Vin smiling. Fine, Set said, sighing. Then you know what we have to do. This siege could take a while. Ellen nodded. Ham, send our engineers in under cover of mist. See if they can find a way for our troops to cross those troughs. Have the scouts search out streams that might run into the city. Set, presumably you can help us locate some of these. And once we get spies into the city, have them search out food stores that we can ruin. Oof, Ellen. Ruining food stores?
Yep. That's a siege.
Yeah.
You've got to starve them out. Why let them use their current supplies?
Yeah.
It'll make it faster.
I just have flashbacks to book 2 when he was dealing with the poisoned well.
Yep, exactly. Yep. Oh, how the turns have tabled.
A good start. Of course, there's one easy way to sow chaos in that city, to perhaps make them surrender without a fight. We're not going to assassinate King Yeoman, Ellen said. Why not? Set demanded. We've got 2 Mistborn. We'll have no difficulty killing off the Fadric's leadership. We don't work that way, Ham said, face growing dark. Oh? That didn't stop Vin from tearing a hole through my army and attacking me before we teamed up. That was different, Ham said. No, Ellen said, interrupting. It wasn't. The reason we're not going to assassinate Yeoman, Set, is because I want to try diplomacy first. So there's a couple of things to unpack there. First off, Ellen, it was different. Set attacked you, not the other way around. That is a difference. Second off, good, Ellen, try diplomacy. Definitely parlay. See if this can be resolved without a fight. Unlikely, but again, you make the effort. That counts for a lot.
Well, in terms of that, it wasn't different. It was different. Well, he was invited into the city. He was in the city.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it wasn't like he was just camped outside and attacking or whatever. Like, he was in the city, allowed to be there. And yeah, she did just go through and slaughter everyone. And that is kind of not diplomacy. So, and I like that Elend isn't trying to give a special treatment to that case. He's not going to entertain being a hypocrite. He's going to actually he's going to own that. He's going to own that criticism. But that doesn't mean fine. Okay, that was exactly. That's what happens when we don't do diplomacy. So let's do diplomacy. And yes, and you should try it first. I understand that he says first because he knows that it doesn't always work.
Yeah.
He definitely knows that. Yeah.
Yep. Diplomacy? Set asked. Didn't we just march an army of 40,000 soldiers on his city? That's not a diplomatic move. Aha, it's the ultimate diplomatic move, Set.
Yes, because we didn't attack.
True, Ellen said, but we haven't attacked. Not yet. Now that I'm here in person, I might as well try talking before sending out knives in the night. We might be able to persuade Lord Yeoman that an alliance will benefit him more than a war. If we make an alliance, Set said, leaning forward in his chair, I don't get my city back. I know, Ellen said. Set frowned. I'm so excited. I love this exchange so much.
Yeah, this is the badass part.
Mm-hmm. You seem to be forgetting yourself, Set, Ellen said. You did not team up with me. You knelt before me, offering up oaths of service in exchange for not getting executed. Now, I appreciate your allegiance, and I will see you rewarded with a kingdom to rule under me. However, you don't get to choose where that kingdom is, nor when I will grant it. Set paused.
I actually imagined him being far more calm when saying that. I thought of him not getting too
Less
angry
contempt.
or anything like that. Yeah, just chilled because it's like, oh, sweet summer child. Like you're forgetting yourself, by the way. Like he doesn't need to get. So try one of those takes. See if do it for me, please.
You seem to be forgetting yourself, Set, Ellen said. You did not team up with me. You knelt before me, offering up oaths of service in exchange for not getting executed. Now I appreciate your allegiance, and I will see you rewarded with a kingdom to rule under me. However, you don't get to choose where that kingdom is, nor when I will grant it.
Obviously, you'll choose whichever one you want, but for me, that's how I read it. Just know that I read it as this kind of cold delivery because we're not playing.
Set paused, sitting in his chair, one arm resting on his useless, paralyzed legs. Finally, he smiled. Damn, boy, you've changed a lot in the year I've known you. So everyone is fond of telling me, Ellen said. Vin, you think you can get into the city? She raised an eyebrow.
I hope that wasn't meant to be rhetorical.
It was meant to be polite, Ellen said. I need you to do some scouting. We know next to nothing about what's been going on in this dominance lately. We've focused all of our efforts on Urtio and the south. Vin shrugged.
I can go poke around a bit. I don't know what you expect me to find.
I'm so nervous for Vin, for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Also, there's no mention of the Allomancers that this lord had. Like this, that was part of the reason that Set yeeted himself out of there because he didn't have the ability. I suppose that means that they didn't have Mistborn. Because I mean, if they did have Mistborn, we would have a mention of that, right? But you don't know if they've had someone snap in the past 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so there's so much we don't know about what's going on in there. This yeoman lord might not even be there anymore. You don't have standards and things like that, like banners and stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know anything. So Vin is definitely in danger.
Yep. I'm nervous.
Mm-hmm.
Set, Ellen said, turning. I need names, informants, or perhaps some noblemen that might still be loyal to you. Noblemen? Set asked, amused. Loyal? Ellen rolled his eyes. How about some that could be bribed to pass on a little information? And whether or not they're Allomancers, as Kitty just said.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And bribed with what? What do we even have? But yes, bribed, convinced, manipulated, same thing. But yes, also maybe it's just so blatantly missing that this is a problem. Do we have another Mistborn? Or either way, haze killers, it's not going to be easy.
Yeah. Oh man, we haven't heard about haze killers in a long, long time.
Because they're low-level enemies right now.
Yeah. We've out-leveled them, outgrown them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're not really a threat, but if you have a lot of them, it's definitely annoying.
Yeah.
And again, Inquisitor, okay, you're saying there's an Inquisitor in there? We don't know that.
Yeah.
So, Inquisitor's definitely worse than Haze Killer.
Yeah. Sure, Set said. I'll write up some names and locations, assuming they still live in the city. Hell, assuming they're even still alive. Can't count on much these days.
True. I was with him on that. I was like, they're probably dead.
Yeah.
They're probably dead. You don't know. You don't know nothing. You might have a citizen in here, essentially.
Ellen nodded. We won't take any further action until we have more information. Ham, make certain the soldiers dig in well. Use the field fortifications that Demio taught them. Set, see that those guard patrols get set up and make certain our tin eyes remain alert and on watch. Vin will scout and see if she can sneak into the cache as she did in Urtio. If we know what's in there, then we can better judge whether to gamble on trying to conquer the city or not. See, so there is a possibility they won't need to conquer it at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just go in there, get the secret.
Yep.
Like, for me, it's like, even if there is nothing in there, the plaque explaining stuff, that's important to go and see.
That's the true value, yeah.
Yeah.
The various members of the group nodded, understanding that the meeting was over. As they left, Ellen stepped out into the mists, looking up at the distant bonfires burning on the rocky heights. Quiet as a sigh, Vin stepped up to his side, following his gaze. She stood for a few moments. Then she glanced back toward where a pair of soldiers were entering the tent to carry Set away. Her eyes narrowed in displeasure.
Hold up. One thing I want to just make you think of, because I know you're a theory man, okay? I was wondering why we're bringing up in the epigraph, why are we bringing up the physiological difference between Scar and Nobleman? Why are we bringing that up now? Because then there's this focus on Set, just the way that obviously we know Set is crippled and he's been moved around and whatever. I don't know if maybe I'm just digging for theories, but we've got this thing about physiological differences, and then we've got Set, who is physically disabled. Is that supposed to be some sort of indicator for some later reveal? I don't know. I'm just putting it out there.
That is a good and interesting connection. But you did spawn a thought in me with this.
That was the point, yes. That's what I wanted you to do, is take this.
We've got Urtio, which is the communist city. We've got a big focus on the differences between the Ska and the nobleman in this chapter, particularly, as you say, emphasized by Set. It could be that Fadrix is supposed to represent like the last holdout of the noble society and the Lord Ruler's vision. Maybe they did open up the cache and they're living as if there isn't any problem and they're still going to balls and stuff like that in there.
Yeah. That would make sense as like a contrast, the two types of, the two ways that the societies could go.
Yeah. Balance.
And I suppose the intelligence of the nobility is in the way that they've really fortified or really maximized the fortification of the city. But yeah, we've seen smarter Ska as well. So I don't know. But yeah, I just wondered why we brought up this difference in the balance or whatever. Maybe the balance as well, just bringing up the balance just between ruin and preservation. That's supposed to spark that thought with us, which it did. We already covered that.
Yeah, I know, Ellen said quietly. He could tell that she was thinking of Set again and his influence over Ellen.
You didn't deny that you might turn to assassination,
Vin said softly. Hopefully it won't come to that.
And if it does?
Then I'll make the decision that is best for the Empire. That is a sad, desperate, but determined statement.
Yeah. And very real.
Yeah. Vin was silent for a moment, then she glanced at the fires above. I could come with you, Ellen offered. She smiled, then kissed him.
Sorry, but you're noisy.
Come now, I'm not that bad.
Yes, you are. Plus, you smell.
Oh? What do I smell like?
An emperor. A tin I would pick you out in seconds.
Ellen raised his eyebrows. I see. And don't you possess an imperial scent as well?
I love that. Imperial scent. Of course I do,
Vin said, wrinkling her nose.
But I know how to get rid of it. Either way, you're not good enough to go with me, Elend. I'm sorry.
It was a very cute exchange.
Yeah, just a relationshipy, dynamic-y thing, flirty, teasy.
They care for each other. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is like, oh gosh, things are going to go down.
Ellen smiled. Dear blunt Vin. Behind him, the soldiers left the tent carrying Set. An aide walked up, delivering to Ellen a short list of informants and noblemen who might be willing to talk. Ellen passed it to Vin. Have fun, he said. She dropped a coin between them, kissed him again, then shot up into the night.
Aw, extra kiss.
Yeah. Get a room. Good chapters. Anything else to say?
The mysteries deepen everything. It's. I would have read this book in 2 days, I think. I would have taken a whole weekend.
Same.
And I would have just been stuck into this. Nobody would be able to speak to me. Yeah, because of just wanting to know, just wanting the answers, I would have read this very, very quickly. But it's still very enjoyable the way we're doing it. Just trying to say that the mysteries are great.
Yeah. It does seem to be moving fairly quickly, more quickly than the first two, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But that makes me think, what on earth is in store for us? Like, what are we getting ourselves into over here? Oh my goodness!
Right?
So we're like a quarter of the way through.
Something like that. I think there's like 85 chapters or something.
And a reminder that this part is glass and cloth. So I don't know. Just keep that in mind.
Fadrex is glass. Urtio is cloth.
Yeah, something like that. Because, ever since we were talking about the knives and things and the names of the parts in the last book, I'm like, okay, what's what? Yeah. So, yeah, maybe it's glass and cloth.
Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week. Subscribe to That Darn Kitty if you get a chance, because she's got a great channel.
Subscribe to this channel, because it's great.
It would be greatly appreciated. And we'll see you next time. Okay, thanks, bye.
Thanks, bye.
Incredibly difficult communication, but... Excuse me, sorry. Yep, quite a sneeze.
It just sounded like your sneeze was an objection.
No.
Because you like butt sneeze. Sorry, okay. I'm just very easily amused.
Of course, no, I heard it. But